welcome to another Olmstead Therapy Talk, OT Talk. My name is Justin. I am the owner of Olmstead Therapy and the clinician, the chief clinician, the only clinician. Olmstead Therapy is a supervised private practice in Arizona, and I'm a licensed associate counselor serving Arizona residents. So in these talks, I explore the wide realm of cognitive behavioral therapy and delve into how our thoughts shape our inner lives, external behaviors, and our mood. So this talk, Depressogenic Freedom, was originally written on July 4th of this year, 2023, to carefully consider our thoughts about freedom and how they affect our individual and national emotions and behavior. Now, this is not a political talk. It's not, although politics is inevitable in addressing this. It's not a political talk. It remains solidly in the cognitive behavioral realm. It's simply applied to our daily life as Americans, at least as I see it. So, Independence Day, also known as the 4th of July, is the U.S. holiday commemorating the Declaration of Independence. It was ratified by the Second Continental Congress on July 4, 1776, and established the United States of America. Now, the founding fathers at the Second Continental Congress declared on July 2nd that the 13 colonies were no longer subject to the Crown of England, George III, were now united, free, and independent states. The Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence 2 days after that, on July 4th. And this was during the Revolutionary War against Britain, which intensified given this Declaration of Independence from Britain. Freedom, therefore, has always woven the fabric of those calling themselves Americans. Freedom was hard-won, a matter of tough minds and stout hearts, who insisted with their blood that they will not be subject to an alien monarch. Liberty was at stake, the liberty to possess one's own life and not have it forcibly taken away. Agency over one's life guaranteed liberty itself, freedom itself. For who is free if he does not have command over his own life? Property also was at stake. One may not pursue the good life if one is unable to manage his own affairs as he sees fit, or to use his property or his person as he ought to, under God, and according to human nature, according to the construction of the human being and natural law. Freedom was about the power to live as one ought, in the full dignity of humankind. More can and should be said about this old freedom, so to speak, and it wasn't perfect either. Humans aren't perfect. Today, however, we are a far cry from that freedom. Stay with me. Today, American freedom has devolved into a demand for instant pleasure on our own terms, at least largely. Freedom has become the liberty to do what I want, not the power to live as I ought. It is popular to point out how the rich elite and special group identities and politicians attempt to force everyone around them to conform to their whims and their wills and their demands. And this is worth pointing out, and it is a terrible departure from our roots of American liberty, and it tends to harm the vulnerable and the poor and the weak. It's easy to point out the faults of others, however, and yet more difficult to look in the mirror. How am I a mini tyrant to others in my life? Now, we all, at some point or another, attempt to force everyone around us to conform to our whims, our wills, and our demand, rather than struggling to conform ourselves to the way the world is actually designed, and out of love for our neighbor. From this effort of trying to force everyone to our will, from this force of ego stems anger, stress, neurotic behaviors, and much more. Freedom has devolved into an entitled attitude, the expected empowerment to insist everything except myself must change to satisfy my private desires. This is not freedom, but slavery. It is slavery to harmful passions that kill slowly over time, like an accumulating toxin. It is slavery to the alien will of social and political voices who instruct us what to think about everything and rob us of how to think in a healthy, resilient, and truly free way. This slavery is mindless, not mindful. This slavery exposes the slave as an automaton of pleasure and social mimicry. It can only decay mental and emotional health as it erodes the soul. It is no wonder that under conditions of such slavery and a radical lack of self-awareness, that anxiety and depression spike. This is truly a depressogenic freedom, a depression-causing freedom. Addiction and service to harmful passions is no liberty. Under these conditions, I have lost control of my life. Rather than having it forcibly taken, I have given it up by inches. My mind and behavior do not seem under my full command, and my property, my money, relationships, occupation, is under partial control of an outside will that does not care about me at all. And the kicker is this: all the minor choices along the way were endorsed or even encouraged by society at large, in one way or another. I may have fallen into hard times on the promises of false freedom, but I don't have to stay there. Let's bring the same question from 1776 and apply it here and now. Who is our king? To whom or to what do we owe allegiance, but to whom or to what are we actually enslaved? Do we need a mental and emotional or a spiritual revolutionary war, so to speak? Do we need a revolutionary war like this to burst the shackles of harmful passions that have lied to us about the nature of freedom? Declare your Independence Day with me. The battle will intensify, so be ready. Make the choice to say no to the alien monarch who does not have your best interest in mind. Regain the power to live as you ought, under God, and accepting of human nature. Live according to human nature. If any of this rhymes with your experience, or you feel like you're in need of help, reach out to me today or book an appointment. Thanks.